Oh my God, welcome.
I love the oh my God. Hi, how you doing?
I get excited every time it works because sometimes when I do these things, it's like 5 minutes of me being like, I promise it's coming. By the end of it, I'm just like, I'm not entertaining this anymore. I'm just gonna
Listen, you got it on the first try. We are here. How you
We
doing?
love a professional, yes. So let me introduce you to everybody. Hello, this is Entertainment Weekly Scene Stealers. We have Julissa Calderon with us from Gentefied.
There seems to be some misunderstanding. You see, we're the baddies del barrio.
Él no sabe.
What?
The best-selling female bachata group of all time. You know our song.
Uh-huh, yeah. Sure you are.
Papi, 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 tú sabes que te quiero. Mi papi, 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 como te adoro. Mi papi, 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 tú eres mi mundo y no puedo vivir sin ti. Mi papi, papi.
I want to start, of course, we're talking about Gentefied. How'd you get involved with the show? Because this was like a big project that was in development for years. Like it was at Sundance. I'm very excited.
Yeah, it was at Sundance. It started as a web series. I auditioned like everyone else and two years ago because it's so weird. I feel like the pandemic has made it like you're trying to remember what year, you can't remember.
Yeah.
But I auditioned for it, and I'm not sure if you know. I love saying this because it allows us to remember that like it's okay getting no's. But I was passed on twice for the role.
Oh wow.
And yeah, I went in for the initial audition. They passed on me, which was fine. You know, you audition how many times and you get how many no's. So yeah, I got passed on. It was okay, and then I got called in for like a director session or producer session a few weeks later, and I was like, oh, okay, sure, I'll do it. And then they got back to my manager and they're like, yeah, we're gonna pass again, but she's so great. And I was like, okay, cool, no worries. And then a month later, I got contacted again, and they were like, we want to see her for the chemistry read. And so Anna, Carrie Martin, who plays Anna, my girlfriend on the show, she was already cast. And so it was down to the last 4 girls. I was one of them. And for whatever reason, I went into it just like not caring because I had already got passed on twice. So I was just like, oh, whatever. These people, they don't know what they want. I don't think they want me. I'm just going to go in and do this and I'll be fine. Sure enough, I guess that was the one. That was the
Hey.
yep, it's her. And I got a call like a couple hours later, and they told me I was gonna be the girl. And the whole reason why I was getting passed on wasn't because of my talent, you guys. No, it wasn't that. It was because they were looking for a Mexican girl from East LA, and so obviously I'm Dominican, very different, and they decided to rewrite the role. So I was cast in the role, and Yessica was rewritten for, instead of a girl that was born and raised in East LA, born in New York and moved to East LA and like decided to stay there and embracing the community.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Because it adds like, I think the character really adds something to the show with that being her background. But the thing I wanted to first ask too about it was, were there any like concerns that you flagged sort of going into it, or were you like working with Marvin and Linda on really like building this role because of how it changed?
Well, yeah, they did ask me a few questions in the beginning when they changed it. They were like, okay, so we're going to make her from here. She moved when she was 12 or 11 years old. And so even like in a couple, I want to say in season 1, there's an episode called Brown Love where it's a flashback episode and you see like a younger me and she's talking and Yessica's talking as if like, well, my mom said I can just test out, you know, what LA's like. And if not, I could go back to the Bronx. And so in that, there was a lot of words that were used, a lot of Dominican food that we talked about that little part covered. And so it was like something like, hey, is this correct? Is this accurate? So it was kind of small things like that. For the most part, they nailed everything, but it was like those little things like, oh, we should probably use this word instead of this one. And so that was even really awesome, right? Because when do you get that?
Yeah. I was wondering too, like, You are one of the primary cast members who's Afro-Latina, kind of the primary cast member who's Afro-Latina. But the interesting thing about Yessica too is that by the end of season 1, she's a little bit of like the primary, like the antagonist against the family, even though she has like a lot of great points. So was there a conversation about like balancing that out? Because like the show talks about how her identity invites like a lot of even discrimination within the community.
Within the Latinx community, within her girlfriend's family as well.
Yeah.
You know what? I didn't understand this until I was done with it in season 1, where I was like, I'm the antagonist. They're gonna hate me. And so I did talk to them after, and they were so open to it. I think that's the best part about Linda and Marvin. They are so open. I think that's why the show is what it is, because they're open to everything, but most importantly, they're open because they want to make it an authentic story. And so I did talk to them, and I was like, man, she's a like people are gonna hate this girl. And they were like, no, it's this. And I was like, if we get another season, like, I gotta be a little more, like, something has to be like, we gotta like her a little bit. And I think you get to see that. I think that in this season, episode 5 specifically, you see her in a different light. And there's something that she says in episode 2 in this season, where she's talking to Anna's mom, and she brings up saying, like, I've always just been the Black girlfriend.
Yeah.
And even just that one line to me was so impactful. I've had people message me and send me DMs and say, like, you didn't touch on this, but just that line told us everything. And so it's really interesting because like I said, I didn't think I was the antagonist until I watched it, and I was like, oh, this is like that. I'm that girl right now. But I ended up trying to see it in a different light. Not just thinking she's an antagonist, but I'm sorry that the Black girl always got to come through and say what's the truth.
Yes.
I think, and that's okay, right? That's okay if that's the script and we look at it like that. I think it's like, what way do you want to see it? Do you want to see it as the glass half full, or do you want to see it half empty? And so I saw it in the way of, I would be the Afro-Latina that's standing up for myself, standing up for my community. I do have to wear the crown. I have to come through as always.
Yeah, and I got a chance to interview Marvin and Linda in America, and I was asking, like, oh, is Yessica like possibly the most difficult character to write, because there is that element of like antagonism, but like she also is the voice of the issues that the show is bringing forward. And so I was wondering, like, what was the reaction you got after the first season? Because I think me watching it, a lot of what Yessica was saying was like, oh, this is making me think about my role in like the community. And
Me too.
Yeah, it speaks to like the next generation of like Latinos, like as we're sort of on the come up, like what are we kind of adding?
Yeah. Well, what did they answer, first of all?
Oh, so what they said is that like Yessica's one of the easier characters to write because they get a chance to sort of put a lot of their feelings, like the sort of most controversial points are the call outs into her lines of like,
I love that. Good. It's true. You know what? I feel like in real life, I am that person, right? I'm always saying something. I like always have something to say, and only something to say when I know what I'm talking about and I'm sure of what I am saying, right? But I am gonna talk up. I always speak my mind when necessary, and so she kind of solidified me into like knowing, because I feel like it's really hard, especially in this day and age, specifically with social media and how everyone's like holds you against your thing, and if you like holds you against your word, and if you change your mind today, well yesterday you said this, and so just like the internet and having a platform is really hard to, you have to pick and choose what you want to say. Yeah. But if anything, I think that I learned from her that I should keep saying what I'm saying, so long as I'm doing it from a place of of honesty and authenticity to myself and not being hurtful to anyone. And what I got from that as well, I didn't get, yes, you have your stragglers, right? And people that are like, I hate her, please, whatever, I can't stand her. But for the most part, I got a lot of people that were rooting for Yessica at the end of season 1, and that made me happy.
Yeah. And then getting into the second season, we mentioned it before, but like, when did you find out that Yessica kind of got her own episode, and what was your reaction to hearing that the Yessica's Day Off episode was happening?
Oh my God, I was so excited. Specifically, I was excited because I got to read a little bit, and I knew that it was going to be like, oh my God, she's different in this episode, right? She gets to have a friend. We get to see a little more of her. We get to see, because like every character on the show, she's multidimensional, just like every human is. And so we only have gotten to see her in this strong activist role and being angry. And so this kind of dug into like her childhood, and we got to see her in a safe zone. So I was really excited that it was going to be that. Most importantly, I think as a kid, the kid in me who was a TV junkie was so excited that I was going to be in a Halloween episode. I think that was like, so exciting. Like, you know, you see TV as a kid and you're like, oh, look at the Halloween. Oh, look at Christmas episodes, like all of that. I think that was more exciting. And then I found out who was writing the script of that episode specifically, and it was an Afro-Panamanian and African-American from the East Coast. And I was like, oh, they got it. They're gonna do everything they need to do for this episode. So it was exciting, and it was also a little telling that we wanted to have an episode of this girl who could have gone away second season, honestly, right? Because she broke up with one of the leads, who is, the story is about the Morales family. And so we could have probably taken her away, but that was telling as what she did specifically to the show and what she brought to the show, that they wanted to make sure that she had an episode. How
fun was it to shoot the dream sequence, and then of course also get a clothes montage? Like, you get to, not only the Halloween episode, but you get to do all these like amazing sort of TV tropes.
It was so fun. It literally was fun. Like, that's all I can think of it. Like, that's it. We shot that the Halloween party thing, the party that we went to. We also shot that in the Magic Castle in Los Angeles.
Oh, wow.
So it was like, even like, everything was just like amplified that week. And it was so much fun. Again, I think being the little girl, the TV junkie, the what you just said, the montage of like changing the clothes, that was so cool. And I was working with Darlene DeMarazzi, who played Dahlia, my best friend. And she's like a riot. She is really, in real life, she is funny. So we got to have banter. There was no lines in those montages. So whatever you heard us say, it was like us just going back and forth. And I think that was so much fun.
Bingo.
I was like, improv? Perfect. We got it. I can do that. We know how to do that. And so you got to see, I also think that because we didn't have lines and they kept the things that we were saying, I think the biggest takeaway for me is that there was 2 Dominican girls on the screen, and they were using their lingo. And we don't see that. We do not see that on television. And that, to me, overall beat everything.
Callie Danny says, sending you love from Seattle. What's an upcoming project you're excited about?
What's up, Callie Danny? I've been to Seattle once. It was a great time. I'm actually excited about a show. I know we're talking Gentefied, but let's switch gears a little bit. I'm actually on this new Amazon Prime show coming out called With Love. It drops on December 17th. And I play Annie on there. And it's a really fun show. It's a rom-com. And so I don't think we see ourselves in a lot of rom-coms, and this is fun. It's written and created by Julissa Calderon, a Cuban woman who I personally adore. And so I was brought on to come bring some light and some fun to the script, and it was a blast.
I'm so excited for that. I can't wait to watch it. Wow, you're getting all the shows.
I'm trying. I'm like trying to just do the work.
But in that's also serves as a reminder. You guys can use the Q&A feature, and we'll hit some more later. But that hits into a greater point that I wanted to talk about. Is do you appreciate on Gentefied, like the aspect that Yessica is East Coast transplant? Because I feel like what I appreciate as someone who's Afro-Latino is that it gets into sort of the different understanding of like being Latino on the West Coast versus the East Coast. Like, I think some things that are understood on the East Coast become like a question out West.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I am the transplant. I came from the East Coast to LA, and everything was like can I say this? It was a mind it was very hard to kind of like, I'm thinking, okay, I'm from Miami. I know LA has palm trees. So I was thinking it was going to be very similar to Miami. I kid you not, I had never been here before moving. And so getting here and being like, whoa, how do these people not understand what I am or who I am, or that I speak this kind of Spanish, all of these different things. And so I don't think that story is told enough, actually.
Yeah.
I think it's very secluded that East Coasters are East Coasters and West Coasters are that. And so to have this girl dropped into this Mexican world, being Dominican, and then an East Coaster dropped into this West Coast world, I think it's giving us stuff that we haven't seen. That's honestly what I could say about all of it. I think as a person who loves the arts, who loves this craft, who loves watching TV and movies, I'm tired of seeing the same things. I also want to watch these things. We watch so much television and movies. You want to learn just a little something while you're watching it. And so if you could watch this and learn and understand, oh, that's those Latin, maybe if you're not a Latinx person, oh, all Latinx people are not the same. We're not a monolith. Or even saying East Coasters are different from West Coasters. This show is telling you that. It's a beautiful thing. I want to learn. Maybe I'm a nerd.
I feel like the taxi scene is a crash course. I love that scene so much.
The taxi scene is crazy, but it's the truth. I cannot tell you how many times someone has said something and I'm like I'll specifically tell you, I was in a grocery store. It was like the third year I was here, second year I was here. And I'm in the grocery store and the cashier is talking to the woman in front of me in Spanish.
Mm.
And I'm behind the woman and I'm waiting my turn. And as I approach and I'm next, she starts to speak to me in English. And so, which is okay, I understand. I was like, okay, so to help you out, because I hear that you are struggling right now, I'm going to talk to you in Spanish so that you can feel comfortable and we can get this transaction done and we're done. I proceeded to talk to her in Spanish and she proceeded to talk to me in her broken English. It was as if she wasn't trying. She was like, no, this girl, why would she talk this Spanish? And it was like, wait, is my Spanish not? And I understand my Spanish is not your Spanish. We have different dialects. But it's still the same language. And so I think that was one of the first times I learned, oh, we are in for a long, long journey here in Los Angeles, y'all.
Oh, God. She was like, I'm not going to let this American try and practice their Spanish.
Exactly that. And I'm over here like, señora, yo hablo español. And she's not having it. She was like, and I'm like, okay, whatever. By the end of it, I was like, all right, listen, maybe you want to practice. Maybe that's what it is. Cool. I'll let you have it.
Yeah,
but that scene does that. That scene shows exactly what we go through. And it's like, I'm tired of saying the fact that like all Latino people don't look alike. We do not all look alike. It's so crazy. Yeah. There's Black Latino people, but I guess we got to put more scenes like that in shows so people understand. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, I think speaking to that, even before Gentefied, of course, you were working with Paralike as well, and really speaking to sort of, or introducing people to like Afro-Latinas and AfroLatina Representation. What is it like to now kind of be one of the faces of this next generation of Afro-Latina actresses? Because of course we see in talking about casting for any sort of Latino, Latinx projects, there's mentions of like Gina Torres, Judy Reyes, et cetera, to keep the diversity within the Latinx community. But now you're seeing like your name is like, oh, we love more Afro-Latina representation. Let's get Lisa in there. Like, what is that experience like?
I get so shy. I don't know if you even, I'm like sweating right now. I get so shy when people ask me this question. It's so, I don't know how to take it. You look at the names, the two names that you just mentioned, like what? Gina Torres. How dare anyone put me in the same sentence with her? But I don't know. I'm thankful, right? I guess I'm doing something right. I keep saying that. I'm grateful that people are acknowledging that we need people, more women that, or just more Afro-Latinos that look like me in these spaces, because we've been here and we're a part of the community. And I don't think that many of us, because there's so many in the industry, but they haven't played these Afro-Latinx roles. That's the thing. They've only played like these Black African-American roles. So there has been so many people, they just haven't tapped into this. And so I'm grateful. I think that it's a beautiful thing. I also think that I've carved it for myself. Like what you just said, right? I started off, first let me say, I started on Off-Broadway. That's how I truly started my career. But I understand that the TV and film world are like, what? And so after I got into videos at BuzzFeed. And one of the things that I figured that I could do was kind of tell my story and kind of do stuff for my people. It wasn't intentional. It was just what I knew. It was like, oh, okay, this is what I know how to do. This is who I know how to talk about. I know my family. I know Dominicans. I know Latinos. This is what it is. And it stuck. And it stuck because it was authentic, and I'm authentic to who I am and to my culture. And I think it paved the way for me to, like, for people to get it and to understand, oh, this is this girl. This is what she does. I carved my own story out. And I think it's a beautiful thing. And I'm grateful for anyone who says, like, I'm one of the faces of Afro-Latinidad. I get like humbled by that. If anything, it's that. I'm like, whoa, that's some big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
First of all, to be like the face or one of the faces. And it's a lot of pressure, but you know what? I'm up for the challenge. I'm always up for it. I think my grandma and my mommy raised me right. And so I think I'll always do right by my people and by my family and by who I truly am. So I'm honored.
Yeah, no, and that's amazing to see that, like, it's really, you're part of putting this identity to the forefront, because I always, like, before there was Afro-Latino, I would always say I'm Black and I'm Latino, and like watching, and like there's overlap. And so the interesting thing though is that, like, in terms of, we always talk about people finding representation, like I remember my journey being like, oh, like if there's not a lot of Black representation, I'm gonna be watching for Latino. If there's not a lot of Latino representation, I'm gonna be watching Black. There's gonna be some crossover because Gina Torres is gonna be
something's happening.
But I remember it's like going from like watching My Wife and Kids to then watching Ugly Betty to then like coming back to, I don't know.
You resonated with all of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, same. I would watch
Taina being the big win. Taina was like the piece.
So good. I would watch novelas. Listen, in my household, Spanish was taught. That was all. I didn't learn English until I went to school. So I was watching like Luz Clarita, which was like a young girl soap opera. And then I'd watch Family Matters, and then I'd watch the Steve Harvey show. And then you know what I mean? I was like, it was a balance of all of those things. And I think that I identify with everyone. I was like, oh, I identify with that. I identify with that too. Like this. If I didn't see myself in this, I saw myself in this. But I spoke Spanish, so I can understand this. It's like a plethora of things. And so I never, and I'll be very transparent, I didn't even start talking about my Black identity or identifying with it until I moved to Los Angeles, because I come from 2 Dominican parents. In my household, Spanish was the only thing talked. And to be quite honest, we weren't as smart as we were now. And we weren't as not, I don't want to use the word woke, but we were not as knowledgeable, right? And so where I'm from the hood in Miami. Where I'm from in the hood, like people were like, you speak Spanish? You are not of us, the Black people, the African American people. You not us. You a Spanish girl. And it's like, Spanish is not, it's from Spain. But you know, that's how we spoke. And they were like, you're a Spanish girl, you're not of us. So growing up, I only identified as a Latina. And it wasn't until I understood it all that I was like, ooh, I'm the best of both worlds. Are you kidding me? No wonder I'm so fabulous.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. Let me get to some questions. Oh, okay, this is fun. So, Head in the Clouds 1991 asks, what is your favorite food to eat in Miami?
When I'm in Miami, it's my people are there, so always Dominican food.
Yeah.
For sure. I don't get enough of that out here in LA.
I love this. Keith and Tone, I want to say is their name. You are a fantastic actress. What is your dream role?
That's great. I don't know if I have one specific. I want to see myself doing something in action. I also want to be a superhero. I keep talking about, I know there's this comic that's coming out one day. They keep saying La Borinqueña. And I would love to play that role. I'm like, why not me? Let's do it. Why not? So yeah, I want to do more work that's like outside of a little of the bubble. I want to do it all.
Yeah, that's amazing. I do, of course, want to get to the end of Gentefied season 2. Do you want to see Anna and Yessica end up together, like in the future possibly? Or do you think that they're pretty good as just friends?
That's so hard. You know what? I think that if we're going to be truthful to these characters and keep them as human as possible and being authentic to their storytelling, these girls are in their early to mid-20s. They're still figuring so many things out. I don't think they need to be together. I do think that they've been in each other's lives so much that they've really become family. And so there's no reason why they would ever have problems with each other or not be cool with each other. I think specifically how they ended was in season 2. Spoiler for everybody who hasn't watched, but you've had enough time. They ended beautifully. It was sweet. It was the complete opposite of what we saw in season 1 in their end, right? So they're in a good place, I think. I still think that they have so much to learn about themselves. I always say people in their 20s, like, don't get in a relationship. Learn yourself. Own your craft. Do everything that you need to do to love yourself and to be happy. And then you can figure it out later. There's no rush. And so I want to give that same advice to both of them. Maybe they will end up with each other. Maybe they're like, let's just take some time right now to learn us and to dive into our crafts and to love on our families. But I think that Yessica's in a space of self-love, and the only way that she's going to get the right love that she wants is to continue to love herself.
Yeah, and I'm excited to hopefully see more. And I think there was a great question that went with this. We might end here, but it's Jodine Vicar. What do you see for potential new storylines in season 3 of Gentefied?
Well, that's a good one. You know what? I want everyone to just thrive. I think this season was them trying to, like, it was a lot going on. It was very emotional. A lot of tears. I want them to thrive in season 3, right? Like, that's how life works. You have your downs and you have your ups. It's a roller coaster. But I want to see the up on this one. And specifically for Yessica, I want to see what it looks like for a brown girl to be a community activist. What does that really look like? What is the day in, day out of that? Because we've never seen that on television. And so I think that for the young kids specifically now, for the AOC lovers, for all of this, I want people to see that. I want some insight on that. And so I think that's what I would love to see for season 3 for Yessica.
That's awesome. And I think that is a good place to end it on. I so appreciate talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. I want to remind everyone that season 2 of Gentefied is now streaming on Netflix. You guys got to catch up. With Love is coming to Amazon Prime Video soon. And once you guys finish all of that, you can also catch Julissa in Go Off videos with Jessica Marie Garcia.
Yes, new episode tomorrow, actually.
Amazing. And so once again, thank you so much for coming on Scene Sealers, Julissa, and have a great rest of the day.
Same to you. Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Go watch Gentefied now.
Yes.
Bye.